If you're going to enable access to medicines, you need to think of it, to medicines for children, you have to think of it in a holistic end-to-end way. So it has to have the finance in place, you have to have the developers in place, you have to have the regulation in place, you have to have the manufacturing in place, and then it has to actually get there. So we're the part that helps to get it there. We're the part that helps to make sure that those products on those shelves are actually all quality products that you can rely on and be sure about. So there's a long history of WHO taking the issue of better medicines for children seriously. The original Better Medicines for Children resolution in 2007, which led to the Essential Medicines List for children in 2009, but also the Resolution 6920, which talked about promoting innovation and access to quality, safe, effective, and affordable medicines for children. At the same time as the resolutions have enabled us to work specifically on pre-qualification of medicines for children, we're also contributing to the SDGs, including increasing access to quality healthcare and essential medicines, as well as supporting research and development. So what are the sort of steps we do? Well, I hope most of you will know what the pre-qualification process is. Effectively, we're an assessment and inspection activity to make sure that the products that are being procured by international procurers are actually manufactured to international quality standards, so that you can be sure that these products actually do meet, they are of quality, they're safe, and they're effective. But one of the big challenges is actually dealing with the specific requirements for pediatric formulations, because there are differences and you need to think about the whole process a bit differently. And we've heard from the development side the challenges in development. We've heard from the therapeutic side some of the different challenges as well. We've actually used the pediatric side to innovate in terms of looking at how we deal with dossiers. So in terms of looking at fixed dose combinations, we've been able to pre-qualify on the basis of the combinations of the individual bioequivalent studies from the original individual components. And we had our first fixed dose combination guideline in 2004, which enabled the first pediatric fixed dose combination in 2008. We also have used the knowledge that we've gained on the biowaivers and the classifications to help us determine where and when you need bioequivalent studies. And we're doing ongoing work to identify the APIs that are eligible. And of course, we're working with the stakeholders. Everybody who's stood up today, we're working with each of the stakeholders to see how we can better target, develop, make sure the manufacturers know what's needed so that they will develop the appropriate formulations. So a couple of them I think you've already mentioned, but we've the artesunate rectal capsules from CIPLA have been pre-qualified, and then the 4-dose fixed dose combination, which we call our sprinkles formulation, which you saw nicely illustrated by Bernard. It's currently under discussion. The other type of areas where we try to work in pre-qualification to help to enable access is in terms of providing guidance, specific guidance to manufacturers, to help make sure that what they put in their dossiers actually will meet the requirements, and to help them show how the bioequivalent study designs can be adapted to account for the pediatric strengths. We regularly organise meetings with pre-submission meetings with the manufacturers to help guide them through the process. We try to increase the visibility of the formulations in the expression of interest for pre-qualification. So we're really targeting, when we issue a new expression of interest, if there's a new requirement or a new demand for a pediatric, we will have a subsection devoted to the pediatric. And also, we're doing a lot of work with regulatory authorities, particularly in low and middle income countries, to make sure that they can use the work that we have done in pre-qualification to enable faster registration. So we have developed a collaborative registration process where, in return for access to the pre-qualification assessment, participating regulators will authorize the product in 90 days. And I had a look at the figures on this, and quite a lot of them have been used for pediatric medicine so far. We also use the expert review panel. So if maybe a company isn't quite ready to have the full information for a pre-qualification dossier, we have a possibility to do a risk assessment based on an expert, or based on the advice of experts, called an expert review panel. And this can help to accelerate access in cases where there's a much needed product. And we've used the ERP for a number of TB products in particular strengths where there was a very distinct need. So looking at the numbers, we've compared with other regulators, we're pre-qualifying a large number of pediatric formulations. So if you look at HIV, it's 21% of all our products have pediatric formulations. Malaria, it's 23%. TB, it's only 14%. It's really showing that we have a bit more work to do there. But if you look at in the area of products for diarrhea, every single one of our products has a pediatric formulation. It's not easy to create the framework, the regulatory framework, and the capacity to evaluate pediatric formulations. And there's a need for continuous work on harmonizing safety, efficacy, and regulatory requirements. So we work very closely with the WHO clinical departments, but also with other regulators, both in developing countries and in developed countries. We work with the International Conference of Harmonization. They're doing a lot of work on modeling and simulation, so you can extrapolate the results from adult studies to pediatric studies. So we're seeing how we can use this in the context of pre-qualification as well. One of the problems with the problems of excipients, bad taste, if you have a standard list of excipients that are suitable for pediatrics, this can help developers to build on this. And of course, we have to work. We're working closely with partners like MMV and DNDi to look at the palatability, acceptability of pediatric formulations. The final thing that I wanted just to mention is the Pediatrics Medicines Regulatory Network that we set up following the Better Medicines for Children initiative. And this was a forum of regulators across the globe where they shared information on challenges and problems that they had in getting access to medicines, or with particular formulations that they needed but that were available somewhere else, but maybe that they didn't have access to. And we haven't been able to, for the last couple of years, we haven't been able to convene these meetings, but we've actually just started to reactivate the Pediatric Medicines Regulatory Network, and this will be a forum to share experience, approaches and challenges, and will enable us to meet the demands identified. Finally, I just wanted to stress again that the whole issue of medicines for children requires upstream and downstream activities. I don't know if people here know about the Global Accelerator for Pediatric Formulations. It's really been focused on HIV products, but we're looking to see whether this could be a model for other therapeutic areas as well. And the whole idea is that you don't just do one part of the process. You make sure that all the parts are in place so that in the end we can enable better medicines for children. Thank you very much.
Thank you.